Hello, hello. Thank you for checking in. It is Friday! Finally, it's finally Friday. This week has seemed really, really long. I don't know about you guys, but it seemed really long to me. So, woohoo! It's Funny Friday where we share jokes to put everybody in a good mood for the weekend. So I hope you have some jokes to share with everybody. Let me say hello to everybody, Allura Star and Shocker and Sturgis Guy and T-Sis, and have some Dave and Sam and St. Quentin and Eric and Petey and Tim and Ryan and Photo and Philip and Mark Mean and Star Raven and Angie Jonas and Fairies Lover and Lucky Girl and Azure Yusuf and the Crim and Marcel and Jim Dandy and Sturgis Guy and T-Sis and Angie Jonas and Fairies Lover and Lucky Girl and Mark Mean and Star Raven and Wing Doggy and Sam and St. Clinton and N1QOV and Joe Barney and Marcel and Philip. Thank you for checking in. Hello! Great to see everybody. Hello, it's Funny Friday. Let me say hello to. So, whoops. Let me get my screen here. She moved here. Hang on. And I am live on YouTube and Google Hangouts. All right. Oh, and Marcel has the first joke. It's Funny Friday where we share jokes to put everybody in a good mood for the weekend. Marcel has the first one. A man went to the police station wishing to speak with the burglar who had broken into his house the night before. "You'll get your chance in court," says the desk sergeant. No, says the man. I want to know how he got into the house without waking my wife, because I've been trying to do that for the last 2 years. How did he do that? Sturgis Guy. It's Funny Friday. What's my shirt? Oh, my shirt. True love and false idols. Jesus has a joke. While cleaning the attic, Joan and Harry found an old stub from some shoes that they had left at a repair shop 10 years ago. They thought, wouldn't it be funny if the shop still has the shoes? Let's go see. So they did. They hand the stub to the repair guy, who looks at it, looks back, comes out, and says, "They'll be ready on Wednesday." Hey. It's been 10 years. I hope you guys have some good plans for the weekend. Oh, sad news. I had read a report regarding the boys that were lost at sea being found. Turns out that was something from 2005, where 2 other boys were lost at sea for 6 days. Some website put that up, which I thought was really irresponsible, because the boys that are lost now for 7 days, they haven't been found, and there's probably not going to be found, at least not alive. But yeah, same exact story. 2 kids, like almost the same, like same ages, 6 days, off the coast. And these 2 kids were found. This was in 2005. They were found after 6 days. But I read that whole story without even noticing that it said 2005 in the date. Like, why would they put that story up? So that annoyed me. Oh, here's Marcel says, a man finds a genie lamp and he rubs the lamp. Whoops. And the genie comes out and says, "I will give you 3 wishes." Okay, I'll give you 3 wishes, but your wife gets double. The man wishes for a new car. The genie gives him a new car, and the man's wife gets 2 cars. The man then wishes for a new house, and the man gives him a new house, and the wife gets 2 houses. And for the last one, the man says, for my final wish, I wish to be beaten half to death. Oh, that's not nice. Linda says, why was the computer tired after he got home? Because it was a hard drive. Oh, goodness. Linda says, Linda says, one of her friends hung themselves. That's no good. Sorry about that. Marcel says, a wife woke up in the middle of the night to find her husband missing from bed. She got up and checked around the house and heard sobbing from the basement. After turning on the light and going down the stairs, she found her husband curled up in a little ball sobbing. What's wrong, honey? She asked, worried that he had hurt himself. And he says, remember 20 years ago when I got you pregnant and your father threatened me to marry you or go to jail? Yes, of course, she says. Well, I would have been released tonight. Oh. Oh. Tisa says, sign behind an Amish carriage. Energy efficient vehicle. Runs on grass and oats. Caution. Avoid exhaust. Oh, well, that's good, Linda. It's Funny Friday, where we share jokes to put everybody in a good mood for the weekend. Hello, N1QOV and everybody on YouTube. Thank you for checking in. I am streaming on both. There's a bit of a lag if you're watching on YouTube. I get my screen moved over. The screen wasn't moved. That's better. I can see both of them better. Marcel says, we went to see a movie the other night, and I sat in an aisle seat, as I usually do, because it just feels a little roomier. Just as the feature's about to start, a blonde from the center of the row got up and started working her way out. Excuse me, sorry, oops, excuse me, pardon me, oops, sorry. By the time she got to me, I was trying to look around her, and I was a little impatient, so I said, couldn't you have done this a little earlier? No, she said in a loud whisper. The turn your cell phone off, please, just flashed on the screen, and mine is in the car. Oh. Linda says, women are like computer viruses. They enter your life, search your pockets, shift your balance, control your life, and when you become an old version, delete you from the system. Wait, what? What? Hi, Sue! Woohoo! Tisa says, my memory's not as sharp as it used to be. Also, my memory is not as sharp as it used to be. Did I already say that? I can't remember. Philip says, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting a tomato in your fruit salad. Unless you really, really like tomatoes. Sam says, what did one boat say to the other boat? Are you up for a little romance? Man overboard. Tisa's husband. Three elderly sisters, aged 92, 94, and 96, share a house together. One evening, the 96-year-old went up to take a bath. She put her foot in the tub and paused. Then she yelled down to her sisters, "Was I getting in the tub or out?" "You damn fool," said the 94-year-old. "I'll come up there and see." When she got halfway up the stairs, she paused and said, "Was I going up the stairs or down?" The 92-year-old sister The 92-year-old sister was sitting at the kitchen table drinking a cup of tea and thought, I hope I never get that forgetful, knock on wood." She shook her head and called up, "I'll be up there to see on you two as soon as I see who's at the door." No one's ever getting out. They're never gonna figure it out. What did the guy with the broken leg say to the nurse? "I'm gonna crutch on you." An old couple is celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary in a honeymoon suite. All night long, the bellboy hears laughing and clapping sounds from the room. The next morning, he asks the old man, how can he do it all night at his age? And the husband replies, "First, I remove my clothes. Then I lie down on the bed face up. Then my wife removes her clothes and lifts my penis up with one hand, and we make a bet. If it falls to the left when she goes, I win. If it falls to the right, she wins." The bellboy asks, "Well, what if it doesn't fall?" And the man says, "Then we both win." And I don't get it. Where's the clapping? I don't get it. We got all these long ones. I have to keep my glasses on. These ones are really long. Linda says, whoa, this one's really long. A man was crossing a road one day when a frog came out and asked him, "If you kiss me, I will turn into a beautiful princess." He bent over, picked up the frog, and put it in his pocket. The frog spoke up and said, "If you kiss me and turn me into a beautiful princess, I will tell everyone how smart and brave you are and how you are my hero." The man took the frog out of the pocket and smiled at it and returned it into his pocket. The frog then spoke up again and said, "If you kiss me and turn me back into a beautiful princess, I will be your loving companion for an entire week." The man looked at the frog, smiled, and put it back in his pocket. The frog then said, "If you kiss me and turn me back into a princess, I will stay with you for an entire year and do anything you want." Again, the man looked at the frog, smiled, and put it back in the pocket. Finally, the frog asked, "What's the matter? I told you I'm a beautiful princess, and I'll stay with you for an entire year and do anything you want. Why won't you kiss me?" The man said, "Look, I'm a computer programmer. I don't have time for a girlfriend, but a talking frog is really, really cool." Two elderly ladies have been friends since their 30s. Now they're in their 80s. They still get together a couple times a week to play cards. One day they were playing gin rummy, and one of them says, "You know, we've been friends for so many years. Please don't get mad, but for the life of me, I can't remember my name. Can't remember your name. Can you please tell me what it is?" Her friend glared up at her and continued to glare at her, and finally, after 3 minutes, she said, "How soon do you need to know?" Sam says, "Why do men like love at first sight?" "Because it saves a lot of time." Marcel says, "A plane is descending rapidly from the air, and all the passengers are scared stiff. Suddenly, a woman near the front of the plane stands up and takes off her shirt. She proceeds to yell, "Is there any man on this plane who can make me feel like a real woman before I die?" She continues to yell this for about 10 minutes before a man in the back takes a stand. He proceeds to say, "Yeah, I can make you feel like a real woman." He then takes off his shirt, throws it at her, and says, "Here, iron this!" Ah! Jesus says, a woman in her 50s was driving with her friend. She went through a red light, and the friend didn't say anything. But then she went through another one, and her friend said, "Do you realize that you went through 2 lights?" And the woman says, "Oh, was I driving?" "I thought you were." Hey, 50s. That's a little... She should be in her 90s for driving that bad. Marcel says a patient goes into his doctor's office and says, "Doctor, doctor, help me. Please, I can't stop stealing things." The doctor says, "All right, take these pills for a week. And if it doesn't work, I'd like a color TV." Tisa says, "How do you speed up the heart rate of your 60-year-old husband?" "Tell him you're pregnant." What? How'd that happen? Giant truck out there. And 1QOV. Hello. Linda has a joke. A guy goes into a job interview and sits down with the boss. The boss asks him, "What do you think is your worst quality?" The man says, "I'm probably too honest." The boss said, "Well, that's not really a bad thing. I think being honest is a good quality." The man replies, "Yeah, well, I don't really give a shit what you think." Oh, too honest. Oh, goodness, this is a big truck. That truck is too big for the alley. Tisa says, "How can you avoid getting wrinkles?" Answer, take off your glasses. I don't see any wrinkles now. Linda says, a man visits India and meets an old man in the town square who is renowned for his elephantine enormous memory. He asked the old man what he had for breakfast on this same day 15 years ago. "Eggs," replied the old man. The man scoffs and says, "Well, everybody has eggs for breakfast," and walks away. 10 years later, he returns to India and sees the same old man on the same spot. Goes up to him and asks, "How?" And the old man takes one look at his face and replies, "Scrambled!" Marcel says, someone going to work sees a crowd of people walking. Looking at the beginning, of course, he sees a coffin behind a gentleman and a little dog, followed by a crowd approaching the owner. He asks him, "What happened here?" "My mother-in-law died," he says. "Oh, how sad. And if I may ask how?" Man says, "My dog bit her." "Really?" says the man. "You don't say. Do you think I could borrow him?" The man says, "Get in line." Sam says, Sam's got a joke. A pretty blonde says, "How would you describe me?" And the man says, "A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K." And the woman says, "What does that mean?" And the man says, "Adorable, beautiful, cute, delightful, elegant, fashionable, gorgeous, hot." And the woman says, "Ah, thank you. But what about JK?" And the man says, "Just kidding." Hey. Hey, Philip. Marcel says, a new vacuum cleaner salesman knocked on the door of the first lady on the street. A tall lady answers the door. Before he could even speak, the enthusiastic salesman barges into her living room, opens up a big black plastic bag, and pours all the cow droppings onto the carpet. "Ma'am," he says, "if this is not cleaned up within 5 minutes with the most powerful vacuum cleaner in the world, I am going to eat all this dung," explains the eager salesman. "Do you want chili sauce or ketchup with that?" asks the woman. The bewildered salesman says, "No, ma'am." "Why?" The woman says, "Because there's no electricity in this house." Ah! Tisa says, "Why should old people use valet parking?" "Because the valet won't forget where you parked the car." Linda says, when NASA first began sending astronauts into space, they were confronted with a small problem. The standard ballpoint pens do not work in space. They spent a decade and $12 million designing a pen that would work 300 degrees, work below 300 degrees in space and on glass. And the Russians used a pencil. Ah! Marcel says, a 12-year-old boy was in bed when he heard his mother moaning. He decided that he would go see what was wrong with her. So he looked into his mother's room and saw that she was lying on the bed naked and rubbing herself, saying, "I need a man, I need a man, I need a man." This went on quite a few times, and then one night he heard his mother again. But this time the moaning sounded different, so he went to go check, and this time instead of seeing his mother-in-law alone, he saw her in bed with a man. So the boy runs back to his room, strips all his clothes off, and starts rubbing himself while saying, "I need a bike, I need a bike, I need a bike." It's a magic genie! Tisa says, where should old people look for their glasses? Where should old people look for their glasses? On their forehead? Where did I put my glasses? Where's my... there's my glasses! I keep losing them. No, that's what I do with my keys and my cell phone. Every time I go to leave the house, where did I put my keys? The doctor asked me, the doctor said he would see me on my feet in 2 weeks. And he did. Because I had to sell the car to pay the bill. Marcel says, genuine advertisement in New York newspaper. Complete set of Encyclopedia Britannica, 45 volumes, excellent condition, $1,000 or best offer. No longer needed. No longer needed. Got married last weekend. Wife knows fucking everything. Tisa says there's nothing left anymore to learn the hard way. Hi, Sue. Marcel says, a Catholic, a Baptist, and a Mormon are bragging about the sizes of their families. I have 4 boys and my wife is expecting another, says the Catholic. 1 more son and I'll have a basketball team. That's nothing, says the Baptist. I have 10 boys now and my wife is pregnant with another. 1 more and I'll have a football team. That's nothing, says the Mormon. I have 17 wives. 1 more wife and I'll have a golf course. Oh, because there's 18 holes in the golf course? Ah! What kind of joke is that? What kind of joke is that? That's offensive. Tisa says, perks of being, wait, there's a long one here. Just hang on. Oh, this is a very long one. Linda says, Bubba was bragging to his boss one day, you know, I know everyone there is to know. Just name anyone and I know them. Tired of his boasting, his boss calls his bluff. Okay, Bubba, how about Tom Cruise? Bubba says, sure, yeah. Yeah, Tom and I are old friends. I can prove it. So Bubba and his boss fly out to Hollywood and knock on Tom Cruise's door. And Tom Cruise shouts, Bubba, hey, great to see you and your friend. Come on in and join me for lunch. Although impressed, Bubba's boss is still skeptical. This keeps moving, sorry. So after they leave Tom Cruise's house, he tells Bubba he thinks Bubba knows knowing Cruise was just lucky. No, name anyone. Bubba says, okay, President Clinton. And then this keeps moving. I'm trying to read it. So they go to the White House, and Clinton spots Bubba on the tour and motions to him, and his boss comes over, and Bubba says, what a surprise! I was just on my way to a meeting, but you and your friend can come up and have a cup of coffee, and we'll catch up. The boss is very shaken now, but he's still not convinced. After they leave the White House, He expresses his doubts to Bubba, who again implores him to name anyone. He says, okay, the Pope. Sure, says Bubba. My folks are from Poland. And I've known the Pope for a really long time. So they fly off to Rome, and Bubba and his boss are Bubba and his boss are at the Vatican. And Bubba says, this has never worked. I can't catch the Pope's eye among all these people. I'll tell you what. I know all the guards, so just let me go upstairs and I'll come up in the balcony with the Pope. He disappears in the crowd, heads up toward the Vatican. Sure enough, half an hour later, Bubba emerges with the Pope on the balcony. But by the time Bubba returns, he finds that his boss has had a heart attack and is surrounded by paramedics. Working his way up to the boss, Bubba asks, what happened? His boss looks up and says, I was doing fine until you and the Pope came up. You and the Pope got up on the balcony, and the man next to me says, who's that on the balcony with Bubba? That is long. This screen keeps, that one was hard to read because the screen keeps rolling and moving, and it doesn't go back. And when I try to go back, it keeps moving forward. So sorry. Oh. Oh my goodness, it's already 5:51. Marcel says the most effective way to remember your wife's birthday is to forget it once. Yeah, it is already 5:51. Well, I hope you guys are going to have a great weekend. I have wonderful plans with Sweetie this weekend. He's back in town. So let me say goodbye to everybody. I will be back Monday at 5:15 Los Angeles time. Let me say goodbye to Allura Star and Shocker and Sturdy Sky and Tesis and House of Dave and Sam and St. Clinton and Eric and Petey and Tim and Ryan and Photo and Philip and Mark Mina and Star Raven and Angie Jonas and Fairies Lover and Lucky Girl and Azure Yusuf and the Cram and Marcel and Jim Dandy and Photo and Philip and N1QOV and Joe Barney and Angie Jonas and Fairies Lover and Lucky Girl and Sue. Thank you, N1QOV! Woohoo! Glad you made it, Sturgis Guy. Let me make sure I didn't wing doggy. Let me make sure I didn't miss anyone. Woohoo! Marcel and Wing Doggy and Sturgis Guy and Tesis. Kisses for everybody. I love you! Bye! I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye. Bye. Bye, everybody on YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Sam and Philip. Bye.